What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. And I'm seeing myself on camera now, and I'm hating this. So give me a minute, hang out, talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back. I still hate it. It's not about that. What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. I am back because I said I would be. And we are going to keep this very brief, inshallah, for all the reasons I stated yesterday. If you were not here yesterday, shame on you. And you need to cleanse, and you have homework to do. So I'm still perfecting and working with this technology, everybody, to try to present something. It's one thing with the information that I want to bring and share, but the presentation is is an integral part of that, and I seek to try to make that experience for my audience as smooth as possible. We're not here for the technology, we're here for the information, and the bad lighting that I'm seeing now. Not important, not going to focus on it, not going to do it. Let me first see who's here. And I always ask, I don't think I've ever said this, but I'm going to say it now. My women, anytime, which most of y'all have been doing this over the years, like if I'm out here looking like, nah, y'all will let me know. So do that, look out for your brother, because I don't just represent me, I represent us. And I'm cognizant of that, and not just here on social media, but in life, wherever I am not just me, I'm us, and we all need to adopt that, practice that, and then evaluate for yourself how that affects your life. Just switch yourself into that frame of mind from now on when you're anywhere doing anything. Stop thinking about you and start being in the frame of mind of I'm representing all of us, you know. It's like Maya Angelou said, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000, you know. I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. So I'm always cognizant of that wherever I'm at in life. It's part of the reason why I've shared with you over the years that in my past, there have been jobs that I have lost, knew I was going to lose the job before I lost it, because what needed to be done was more important than me. That it was about the principle of righteousness above all. And then it's also about the person that's going to come after me. How is this going to affect down the road? Leave me out of it. You know, I'll just give you a quick story. When I first returned to California years ago, okay, this is seriously abbreviated. So just know there's a lot of stuff that I'm not telling you. So, but I just need to make the point. Story, novel, War and Peace. I'm working at Target. I had taken a job at Target. And I was the only African person up on the front lanes, the registers, and I was the only male. And so I took that very seriously. And in fact, even one day, the district dude, a big, tall, I think Sam was probably 6'5", a brother. I was transacting with a customer and he had observed it and he just was blown away. He literally came up to me like almost breathless. He said, like, you're like the best employee ever. I mean, he was beside himself. And so that's just to give you the level of whatever. So, but after I was no longer there, when I went back into the store and I saw a sister on the front lanes and another brother, I knew I had paved the way for that, you know. And how I even lost that job was because I had to choose the lady that hired me, Rahima of Allah. She's passed on now. She died of cancer. But they had this thing where they don't want you to work anywhere else other than Target. Well, I'm a grown-ass man. So then maybe that works for the teenager that still lives at home with their parents, but it doesn't work for me. So anyway, she pulled me to the office one day and she was like, you know, I just, you know, if you're going to work another job, then you need to let Target go, but do it the right way. She wasn't really speaking to me as a manager, really. She was kind of speaking to me as like my auntie, you know. And I still thought it was a bunch of crap, but whatever. So anyways, probably not the best story, but I'm just trying to say, you know, then there's jobs that I got fired from. I know when I got up, I'm going to be fired today because they're not going for this. When I go in and say X, Y, and Z, or when I do X, Y, and Z, it's going to be a problem, you know. So I've always been in that space of martyring myself for the greater good. That's why I preach it so much. That's why it frustrates me so much that I don't see that being so present amongst our people. You know, it's just the me, right now, me, you know, emotion. It's not me in 5 years, me in 10 years, my offspring. No, me right now, me today, me, you know. And when you think about the collective of moving forward, you know, you can't just be about you. It's like the old African proverb says, if you want to go quick, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, you know. So it must be that. It must be. It must be. And I'm someone who lives the principles that I preach, because that's why I preach them, because I live them. I know that the things that work for me can work for anybody. You know, while I have my talents and my gifts, I'm still just a human being. I'm just a man, you know. So take that with you. I want to shout out Cheryl Bryant. Shout out to you, Queen. Miss Matthews. Shout out to you. Also, you guys, underneath the video, if you're watching it on YouTube, underneath the video, you'll see that today I was ready and stuff. So in the description underneath me, there is the link for you to click on to come live into the stream. I'm doing my part. I'm doing everything on my part. I'm keeping up my end. I try to keep my word to the things I say I'm gonna do. And you feel me? I need y'all to you know, take a bigger leap. You understand? So it's in the description box underneath the video. I titled it "Join the Live." Join the live with this link in capital letters, and there's the link, and click on it, and you're gonna be fine. Right? I still hate my turban, but it's still better than Nick Cannon's. So that happened. Shout out to Shiro, my queen extraordinaire. Shout out to Righteous Indignation. I love that name too. Shout out to Portia Snelling. Good to see you. Andrea Smith. Shoni, shout out to you. Shout out to no, I said Andrea already. Andrea says Jedi just checked in. Did you? I think you meant here. Will Smith just resigned from the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Science after Chris Rock's. I did not hear that. Did not know that. Shout out to Mike Jefferson. Big shout out to you. No, I didn't know that. And you know, every time you're scrolling, you see some new headline or something. I haven't read any of them or looked deeply into any of them. As I said to you guys, the fallout is what we need to. In fact, well, no, Kai, I was talking to, because Kai and I talked at length about this in our phone conversation, and I was vacillating between, was this whole thing staged or is it real? And so I just decided to have one set of response if it was real, and another one if it was fake. And one on if it's real, then I want to see what will be the fallout, because there has to be fallout if it's real, you know, i.e. stepping down and resigning from Academy Academies of Motion Pictures, and you know, things like this. So and I maintain, real or fake, that at the core is, for white people, it is just, they cannot ever process or accept an African person doing anything that is controversial without there being a consequence. They can't understand, well, how come he gets to walk away? They're always at a point that that little kid that's always, how come I didn't get any? That's them. Or you got a bigger piece than me. That's them. And so, you know, I saw something, I didn't read it, didn't look at it. I just saw the title. D.L. Hughley weighed in some kind of scandalous way. There's a few people, but no, I didn't hear that, Andrea. Come here, shout out to you. And again, I remind anybody that's just coming in, first of all, thumbs up. And I remind everybody that the link to come into the live is in the description box underneath the video. That's what it is. So you can come on live and we can all hear you and see you and enjoy you and all of that. And also, I want to say this, don't deny me, everybody, because I put myself out here, you know, going back to my big channel, and then plus Jedi Revolution, Jedi Kids. I mean, probably now, probably at least 1 million people at the very least, have been exposed to my face and my voice. And I just find it a little frustrating that many of you, and many of you are my faithful followers, I've never heard your voice. I've never seen your face. I feel like I'm getting the shorter end of the stick, you know? It's not right. It's not right. All this technology that we have, and yet I have people that I've never heard their voice. I've never seen their face. They're just a name and a thumbnail to me, you know? And that doesn't matter for people that are here. They just want to see your numbers, you know? They want you to give them money. They just want to have bragging rights, and it's a hobby, and they're trying to make that YouTube money. I don't got none of that going on. None of it. So this is from the soul. They will never say that. It doesn't matter to them. You know, you see these Instagram people. I have 40,000 followers on Instagram. Name one, bitch. Name one. Name one. No. Name a dozen. That many, you should be able to name at least a dozen who you could pick out of a lineup. You know their voice. If you heard it in the grocery store, you know who they are. You know who they are. So I want you to think about that. You know, I've always said, you know, even in my family, I feel like I make struggle look too easy. I think it's one of my Achilles heels, you know, if you will. I think I make things that are difficult in life in general. I think that I make things look too easy, you know. Even with my family, I think that they never really, like when I stopped communicating with my family, nobody's checking for me, you know, but because I've always had a job, I've always been able to support myself, blah, 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 blah. They don't consider that I have hardship or anything, you know, like I just think that if I had been a pathetic case, then maybe that would have affected things. But people are used to me just surviving and getting through and making things happen, you know, and that translates even to this because, you know, you're just seeing me, you know, and that's all fine. And I just appeared here. You have no idea how my day went, you know, what it takes for me to sit here right now, you know, to try and balance you with the technology and the information and make it all seem like it's seamless and, you know, all that. I mean, you don't appreciate it, you see. So that's why I'm telling you, so that at least if you didn't appreciate it out of ignorance, that's one thing. Now, if you don't appreciate it when you have the knowledge, then that's a different issue. Khalifa of the Most High. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You say, greetings, grade 1. Yes, it's true. Will has resigned from the academy. And so what? Because what does that mean? He still has more money than you and I will ever see. And he, you know, what's he done on the academy? You know, that's the thing. So I don't want to boohoo for him. What's he done on the academy? Because the limited knowledge that I have about the academy is that it's mostly a bunch of old white dudes. I don't know if that's just the core of it, but then you have these actors and actresses that are part of the academy of motion pictures who vote on the Oscars and things like that. Does Will have a vote? We assume yes. And what's he voted for? You know, why have we gone through Oscars so white and all the other scandals that we've gone on with racial issues with the Oscars? If just even he is on the academy, he's a $1 billion box office smash. You know, his first 3 movies of his career made over $1 billion. And he's like the it guy, you know. And I think that if this had been Bruce Willis, who's another $1 billion box office dude, the bastard, Tom Cruise, he's a $1 billion, you know. These are the big movie stars that, you know, they have the movie of the summer and the movie of the, you know, and so they thereby have power. How has Will used his power? You know, before I even join the chorus of tears of him not being on the Academy anymore. I need to know, should I care? You know, should I care? And I just don't know that I should. You know, I still say that Will is going through something something. And whatever it is, you know, it's really taken him. Something about this movie maybe that has awakened something in him that wasn't awake before. Because I saw him cry at the Screen Actors Guild Award, the SAG Awards. I saw him cry at the Critics' Choice Awards. I saw him crying at the Golden Globe Awards during his speeches. And then we saw him crying at the Oscars. But the cry was a deep cry, you know. And for a man, well, most men, I'll say, well, a lot of men, because I don't know how many men are really like real crybabies like me. And certainly to let that be shown to an international audience means it just simply could not be held back. You know, that means that you just couldn't hold it at all. That the soul is so full that he couldn't hold it. So what's going on there? You know, what was it about this movie? Did he have some epiphany of maybe he's feeling feelings of inadequacy, buffoonery? Like, I think I'm doing a good thing. I haven't done anything necessarily against the culture, but damn, I've really wasted time. Maybe he's feeling that. He's 53 now, I think it was. And, you know, I just could imagine some things. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Miss Matthews, happy moon in Aries, family. You are killing me with this astrology and oracles, Miss Matthews. I'm not mad at you. I'm just highlighting that I see you, you know. Shiro shouting out all the queens, and you, Miss Matthews. You say, I hope he covers Marvin Gaye's reported murder. Today is its anniversario. Tomorrow is his birthday. Dr. Maya Angelou too, as well as Tracy Braxton. Let's see. Let me read something else before I come back to you. Chocolate Rhythm. Shout out to you, Queen. You go on, Khalifa, to say, by the way, Bruce Willis resigned also due to a brain disorder that has affected his speech. Didn't know that. No problem, Andrea. At least you self-corrected. That's what matters. Come here. Says, what's up, family? Peace and blessings from Florida. Oh, girl, get your purse and run. Florida is not the spot. Andrea, hey, I think I read that. Yeah, I read that. Portia, you say, good evening, Jedi. You look great. Well, thank you. I appreciate that because I really don't think so. Righteous indignation, you say, maybe in and out of chat since I'm at work. Appreciate you. Okay, I want to get right into this, y'all. So that we can move along. And shout out to KD. Good evening, everyone. You say, shout out to you. Mike Jefferson, you say, the part Will Smith played made him think. What if I raise my kid? What if I raise my kid correctly? I think that's what it says. Yeah, that's one thing I can come to. Like, you know, he's had to, I mean, it could be something totally different. Maybe there was death in his family. It could be, I mean, you know, I mean, I don't know, but it just seems like he was, you know, in the language that he used in his speech. He said, Richard Williams, you know, he fiercely defended his family, you know, and I don't know, man. To me, that's the story. Forget that he slapped Chris Rock. Nobody cares now. All right. Why were you crying? Tell us that. Tell us. I love that. Righteous indignation. A toddler race. Love that. Love that. I think it's accurate also. Yeah. So let us begin. I want to, because you all mentioned this, and that's why I'm choosing to do these. That's one. And then also because these will be straightforward and we can move kind of quickly and we won't be here. My goal is to not go over the 2-hour mark. Yeah. So this first one is, let me bring y'all in. I don't know where I want to begin. I guess we'll start here. I don't know anything about this, by the way, at all. So I'm learning in real time. Just so we all know. Oh, I'm such an idiot. Ah. Well, what if I did that? No. Shiro is the one that made me aware of this. This is the case of Cora Faith Walker. No idea who she is or why I should care. But hopefully it's going to, wait, maybe I should go back. Well, no. All right, fine. Preliminary toxicology report following sudden death of Cora Faith Walker, negative for drugs. The death of the former Missouri State representative shocked, I tell you, shocked St. Louis County and St. Louis City. It looks like there's a news report here. Let us hear this report on these findings.
The cause of death for Cora Faith Walker, a high-ranking St. Louis County aide,
with no sound,
is unknown. But the I-team learned that a preliminary toxicology report was negative for drugs in her system. The 37-year-old collapsed in a hallway at a downtown hotel March 11th. Our Christine Byers has the latest on Walker's sudden death and what the woman who called 911 had to say about the incident. Christine?
Cora Faith Walker was a former state representative who went to Mayor Tashara Jones's birthday party the night before she died. The two were close personal friends. Today, St. Louis Public Safety Director Dan Isom said there is no police or federal investigation into her death.
Chief Hayden and I agree a 37-year-old sudden death is unusual.
He's reading it.
As such, the St. Louis Police Department began looking into the circumstances around Ms. Walker's tragic death last week.
Just
now,
a second.
ICE did confirm a St. Louis police officer who is part of the DEA's task
Why did he read that statement? He's saying the chief and I agree. Why are you reading what you agree about? Why are you reading that?
force looked into the circumstances, but not on behalf of the Federal Drug Agency. ISOM also outlined a timeline of Walker's final moments, saying hotel surveillance footage showed her walk into a hotel room with another person at midnight. That other person left about 2 hours before Walker was seen walking out and collapsing in the hallway. ISOM says a Good Samaritan called 911. Today, that caller spoke exclusively to the I-Team about what she saw. She asked that we not use her name.
I thought it was great that so many people jumped in to try to help someone we didn't know.
So it's really surprising to hear that all of this has turned into such a suspicious thing.
Yeah, I was surprised by it, to be honest with you. Like, and I guess maybe it's because of who she is or whatever, but to me, everything went as you would expect it to if you happen upon somebody who collapsed. You don't know who she is. You don't know if there's any medical history. You have no idea. You just want to try to save her life.
Now, despite ISOM saying there is no suspicious activity, St. Louis County Councilman Tim Fitch wants the Missouri Highway Patrol to investigate. He said the city police department is capable of conducting the investigation, but shouldn't because of Walker's close relationship with the mayor.
Okay, that green top she's wearing burns my retina of my eye. I can't look at it. So this is an after the fact. What I gleaned from that is apparently she collapsed somewhere. Let us read a preliminary toxicology of Cora Faith Walker, St. Louis mayor's, the St. Louis mayor, his close friend, and a high-level administrator in the St. Louis County Executive's office has come back negative for drugs. Multiple sources have told the I-Team. Cora, who was 37, very young, died 11th March after emergency responders were called to the Live by Lowe's Hotel in Ballpark Village in the city of St. Louis. She collapsed outside of a hotel room on the 3rd floor the morning after she attended a birthday party for Mayor Tashara Jones. The sudden death, just a second, she collapsed outside of a hotel room on the 3rd floor. Outside of the hotel room. What time? I hope they're going to tell us. On the 3rd floor, the morning after she attended this thing for the mayor. The sudden death of the former Missouri State Representative caused shock and raised questions in St. Louis County and St. Louis City, with at least one county councilman calling for an outside investigation. It's unclear what exactly a preliminary toxicology report rules out and if any substances remain in question. That's a very good question. Director of Public Safety, because I think they should have a list of everything that was in her system, just everything. Director of Public Safety for St. Louis, for the city of St. Louis, Dan Isom, gave a public safety news conference at 11 a.m. Monday, saying Cora, her final cause of death remains undetermined, and that a, quote, Good Samaritan, end quote, at the hotel found her and tried to give her aid after she collapsed. She collapses outside of her room at this, I'm gonna infer this is gonna be a shishi poo poo hotel just because the mayor is there and it's a gathering for the, the shishi poo poo people. So I would expect cameras to be in the public areas, certainly hallways outside of hotel rooms. What time was it though? We'll just continue to read because that question has not been answered yet. Isom said, no, Director of Public Safety, okay, the news conference at 11 a.m. saying Walker's remains undetermined and found to get first aid and after she collapsed. The Good Samaritan. Who was the Good Samaritan? Isom said the police department does not believe there was any foul play or wrongdoing involved in Walker's death. How do they arrive at that conclusion? Unfortunately, a word I hate, many have jumped to conclusions based on rumors, innuendo, and allegations with no facts to support their reporting, Isom said. Well, then what are the police basing their bold statement on? This is right after their statement. It goes, Isom said, this is Isom. Isom said the police department does not believe that there was any foul play or wrongdoing involved in Walker's death. That's on an island all by itself. Here it is. That's it. I need that bigger. Did it switch? Haha. Now, and then on the very next, right after that, quote, unfortunately, many have jumped to conclusion. This is Isom still speaking after he just said, well, the police said there's nothing to see here. Who weren't the Good Samaritan. They weren't the first on the scene. They didn't find her. But they've said there's nothing to see here. And then the very next sentence, unfortunately, from Isom himself, many have jumped to conclusion based on rumors, innuendo, allegations with no facts to support their reporting. Well, where did the police get theirs at then, Isom? You know, it's sad. It's a sad commentary on individuals who manufacture controversy out of tragedy. And it's also sad when police just spew shit out of their mouth that they have no evidence or findings on that they can show the public. You know, so that right there raises another ire of suspicion for me from the Isom dude. And I'm seeing his name too much. Again, next paragraph. Isom also said there is no local police or federal investigation underway into Walker's death. The police have said nothing to see here. Quit with those conspiracy theories. Everybody said that there's no investigation along the way. I'm looking right at Isom right now. I'm looking right at Isom. That's the person for me right now, because you got too much to say and the things you're saying. But there's no local police or federal investigation underway in Walker's death, but confirmed a St. Louis police officer who is also a member of the Department of DEA task force, just one, had been told of the preliminary toxicology reports or toxicology results by the medical examiner's office and has been looking into the facts surrounding Walker's death. So just one police officer. After you just said nothing to see here from federal, state, or local, nope, nothing. But there is one officer, just the one, who is also a member of the department's DEA task force, has been told of the toxicology findings by the medical examiner, and has been looking into the facts around. But this police officer is not a medical examiner. He's not a medical professional. He's not a forensic pathologist. He's not. Why? He has no clout. So what? What that means nothing. A spokesman for the DEA, so not the cop that's a member of the DEA who's the only person on earth looking into this, but now a spokeswoman for the DEA issued a statement instead of this police officer who's looking into everything. But a spokeswoman for the DEA issued a statement to the I-team saying only, quote, we do not discuss investigations, including whether or not an investigation has been opened. But Isom just let it out that at least one of your members in the DEA, who is also a member of the DEA task force, has been told by the medical examiner and is what? And has been looking into the facts surrounding Walker's death. But in the very next sentence, this spokeswoman for the DEA says, no, we don't discuss that. We don't, investigations or whether or not they've been open. We can't. Much of the controversy surrounding how slow public information about her death has come to light and how the fire department has required reporters file sunshine requests for basic information about the incident. Something's here, everybody. Something's here. Because that's another component just brought in now. And so all the shit that Isom was saying, the bitch at the DEA, just the one officer who happens to be connected with the DEA, is the only human being that sees any need to investigate anything. And then now the fire department is, you have to file a freedom of information request for even the most basic information about the case. Why? Where there's smoke, there's fire. And I always tell you, the moment you have anomalies, that is the stench of conspiracy. The moment you have anomalies, that is always the footprint and the stench of conspiracy. I stand by that to my dying breath, because it's always in conspiracy, because conspirators with big events or even small events, because they are not the creator of the heavens and the earth, they can't control all the variables, the incidentals that could take place during said event or act. So when there is something that comes up that they could not cover, that doesn't go along with their scheme, that's an anomaly. When they try to make it seem normal, that's an anomaly. It's an anomaly that the fire department, that you'd have to file a freedom of information request with the fire department for any information. That's an anomaly. It's an anomaly that the one person is saying, no, even though state is not investigating, even federal is not investigating. That's an anomaly, probably a double anomaly if I think about it. And we've not heard anything of cameras. And there's just one good Samaritan who they don't name, is the person who finds Cora outside of her hotel room where she allegedly collapsed. But they're going to give a timeline now. Now, here is what the I-team has learned about the timeline leading up to Cora's final moments through public records requests, sources familiar with the investigation, and Isom's comments. So Isom's in this again now too. Here's what they've learned from public records through public record requests, comma, sources familiar with the investigation, and the Isom bitch. Now, at 9:44 a.m., 10th March, Cora posted on Twitter, wishing Jones a happy birthday, including a video compilation of Walker and Jones in photos and videos together. By the way, remember, she's 37 years old. She's a toddler. That was at 9:44 that she posted on Twitter. At noon on 11th March, the next day, so just over 24 hours later, hotel video surveillance showed Cora entering another person's hotel room. Whose room? Period. Isom, here's that Isom person again. Isom, who's controlling the story, we clearly could tell, said that person has cooperated in the investigation into Cora's death, comma, but he said he would not identify that person for privacy reasons. Isom is the fucking killer, everybody. Because what did I just say? I stopped when I said, okay, we're just over 24 hours later, and I say hotel video surveillance. Now we're hearing, because I've already challenged about or question about video surveillance. I'm assuming it's going to be a high-end hotel, you know. And so that, and then and they said showed her entering another person's room. I immediately said, whose room? Whose room was it? But who's on the scene so we can't know whose room it was? Isom. That's who's on the scene to say you can't know whose room she went in. You can't know. And no, and nobody's investigating. Nobody, state or federal, is investigating. And stop with the reporting of conspiracy theories. This is all ISOM. Everything's coming from ISOM. Everything. Because of privacy reasons. Now, 7 a.m. on 11th March. So 12 a.m., that would be just past midnight. So I scratch when I said 24 hours later. 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. is not 24 hours, but you get my point. All right, so now that was at 12 a.m. We'll just say midnight. All right, now at 7 in the morning on 11th March, another person who I'm sure ISOM is going to tell us, we can't know who that is. Another person leaves the hotel room where Cora had been last seen. Now, first thing I want to know, who left? Who could be seen leaving her room? Who was seen leaving? That was at 7 a.m. 53 minutes later, Cora liked a tweet showing a shark. I don't know what that is. Charcuterie. I don't know what that is. A charcuterie, something board. Damn it. But that's at 7:53. Now, so we'll just round it to 8 o'clock. All right, shortly before 9, an hour later, Cora can be seen, but they go past now. They don't tell us who was seen leaving her room. Another person leaves her room, leaves the hotel room where she was at. Now, remember, that's not her hotel room. That's the hotel room of the person whose room she went to. We said, whose room is that? So now this person, there's another person coming out of that room. Stay with me. This is still not her room. Down that same room that ISOM already told us we can't know, there's somebody coming out of that room, right? At 7 a.m., another person leaves the hotel room where she was last seen, which is this room that ISOM told us you can't know about. So at 7:53, she likes a tweet showing something board. Somebody tell me what that is, this word. CHARCUTERIE. Now, that was at roughly 8 o'clock. Now, shortly before 9, still on 11th March, Cora can be seen on video surveillance footage walking out of the room and collapsing in the hallway. And who's on the scene for the next sentence? ISOM said a good Samaritan tried to revive Walker and called 911. ISOM. ISOM is just all over it like a stain. We can't know the person's room that she went into. We can't know who came out of the room. And we can't know who the Good Samaritan is. All because of ISOM. And on the surveillance footage, walking out of the room and collapsing. Is she collapsing from a wound, a gunshot wound, a blow to the? I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you would be collapsing, you see. But the inference they're selling is that she was perfectly healthy but just collapsed. That's what they're selling us. Captain Leon Whitener, this can't be good. A St. Louis Fire Department spokesman. So it's going to be fire and paramedic. So it's the fire department spokesman. Told the I-team a public records request must be filed. So he's immediately standing in the way to get any information about the call to the hotel, including the time, date, and place of it. This is right up there. Remember, I brought you the case of Kendrick Johnson, rolled up in the gym mat allegedly, and suffocated to death. More lies. And remember when there was a brother reporter that went to the sheriff because it was clear that now the sheriff is holding up everything. And he's asking him, he says, how come you won't, first he told him, you know, I don't need to answer your question, you leave the office, but they're still following him through. And finally he goes, well, how come you won't open an investigation or you won't do such and such? Because I don't want to. That was his answer from a white man. Just because I don't want to. That's enough. Just because I don't want to. I don't need anything else. I just don't want to. You see? And that's supposed to be fine. This is up there with that. Right now. And now the fire department is saying, well, we can't tell you anything. Unless you get a Freedom of Information request. To know anything, the information about the call to the hotel, including the time, the date, and the place of it. Well, we kind of know the place. So just that you mention that means you are going out of your way to be difficult. The I-team filed that request, only to be told 2 days later by the city's counselor's office that the request needed to be filed with the fire department's investigation division, not the MS division. Oh my God. Nothing screams murder like this right here. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Wow, the request has been filed and has not yet been fulfilled. So first they give you the runaround. Yep, you got to go file it on, you know, Mount Rushmore or something. You know, we don't have to tell you. And they go and do it and they go, well, we don't have it yet. Multiple sources have confirmed the 911 caller told dispatchers she believed it was a possible cardiac arrest. But that could have been induced. At 8:58 a.m. EMS workers were dispatched to the hotel. So I can glean that they said shortly before 9 is of her walking out of the room and collapsing, and then the Good Samaritan shows up. They said it's just before 9, shortly before 9, they say. So that's somewhere between 7:53 and 9 o'clock. All right. Then now they say at 8:58, EMS workers were dispatched to the hotel. Dispatched. Did they arrive at 8:58 or were they just dispatched at 8:58? 9:13, an ambulance arrived at the scene. Okay. So now at 9:39, ambulance leaves with Cora towards SSM Health St. Louis University Hospital. 9:46, ambulance arrived at the hospital with Walker. So at 9:39, it leaves to the hospital. 9:46, it arrives. 9:58, Walker was pronounced dead. So she was dead on arrival. Nah. 36-year-olds don't just drop dead, everybody. You don't have to be anything to know that, to understand what I'm telling you. There's not a real high requisite for common sense, you know. Some shit is just known just on common sense. But now at 11:30, now at 9:58, she's pronounced dead. So we'll just say 10 o'clock. Now at 11:30, the St. Louis medical examiner picked up the body from the hospital. So an hour and a half later, here comes the medical examiner. 6:14 p.m. Same day, St. Louis Medical Examiner's Office called the police department to report a sudden death at the hotel. So police were never called. Police are never called until 6:14 p.m. No police. And why? 6:14, medical examiner called the police department to report a sudden death at the hotel. The medical examiner calls. Nobody else would have called the police before that. Well, I mean, I'm not really going to press on this because the police don't know any damn thing. They don't even know law before you get to medical. So I'm not really all that concerned, but still it's an element of why is the medical examiner, if you have a sudden death, what were you doing? The medical examiner picks up the body at 11:30. So you had 6.5 hours plus about 6 hours and 45 minutes. You've had this body. What did you do to the body? What was known at that point? How far had you developed your autopsy that you are now calling at 6:14? You're calling the police to report a sudden death at the hotel. According to police spokesman Sergeant Charles Wall, this call included the address of the hotel. We try to act like you're giving us some information now. By the way, the address was also there too. Like, oh, thank God you gave us something. You know. Quote, in this case, an unidentified female subject, unidentified, because it seems you have to show your ID at a hotel, and there was a gathering there the night before. I mean, I'm not really accepting this unidentified in this case, quote, because I don't know who's saying it yet. In this case, an unidentified female subject was transferred to an area hospital where she later died, he wrote. Who's writing? Who's writing? Who's writing? Is the medical examiner writing, or is Sergeant Charles Wall writing? Who's writing? We don't know who's writing. It says he wrote. By the way, nobody at the hospital knew who she was, because the medical examiner gets the body at 11:30. They pronounced her dead at roughly 10 o'clock. So in that hour, nobody discovered who she was? Or hour and a half, nobody discovered who she was? Then he's got the body for about 6 hours and 45 minutes. He doesn't discover who she is? We're just going to assume he's the one that's writing, because they don't say who's writing, but they put quotations. Quote, in this case, an unidentified female subject was transferred to an area hospital where she died, he wrote. The ME, the medical examiner's office, contacts our agency in these, so I guess Walker or Charles Wall is the one writing. The medical examiner office contacts our agency in these instances to positively identify unknown individuals through fingerprint identification. So they're being brought in at 6:14 to identify the body. Why didn't you do that when you first got the body? It seems when the medical examiner shows up at the hospital, you go, who is it? Who is it? Who am I picking up? Whose body is this? They don't ask. Now he's got the body for 6+ hours, and he doesn't ask who is it. He doesn't call somebody and say, who is it? One of the things that medical examiners do in determining cause of death, everybody, is they always people think they just examine the body. They do, but they also look at other events and circumstances. What was the last thing they were doing? Who was with them? Did somebody notice anything? Things like this. They gather this to make their summation of their final cause of death. So it seems unbelievable to me that the medical examiner has the body for at least six plus hours and doesn't try to see who it is. And you're the medical examiner. How long have you been medical examiner? Because she's a prominent political figure or a friend to a political figure. What is she now? What's her official title? Because that's all kind of in the same cabal, like you're going to be at the same mixers as these people if you're the medical examiner. You understand? Because your office is kind of political. She's a high-level administrator in St. Louis County Executive's Office. I find it hard to believe the medical examiner didn't know who she was. So now, and just that this Sergeant Wall felt he needed to explain why they're calling him. Well, the medical examiner office contacts our agency in these instances to positively identify unknown individuals through fingerprint identification. Because apparently medical examiners don't take your fingerprints, if we hear them tell it. Medical examiners absolutely fingerprint the body. And this is, I can't do, quote, our agency generally, and in this instance specifically, does nothing further unless the medical examiner's findings determine the manner of death to be something other than natural causes, which is why we're sitting on our ass. But on that day, the medical examiner didn't know if it was natural causes. And the medical examiner would be highly suspicious of it being natural causes based on the fact that the patient is 37 years old. When did he know she was 37 years old? Related, Cora's aide to Sam Page and former state representative dies. That may be something we have to look at, but we're going to move on. Now we're at 14th of March. 3 days later, St. Louis medical examiner Michael Graham conducted an autopsy. So you don't conduct the autopsy. What were you doing with the body for 6.5 hours on the 11th? And calling the police, but you haven't done an autopsy. But he just said that they contact your office to possibly identify. So he just wanted identification that day, later in the day, like at night, but nothing. Come on, man. But now on the 14th, 3 days later, the medical examiner conducts the autopsy. Quote, there was no physical injuries or signs of trauma to the body, he said. Okay. Graham said he would not be able to determine the cause of Walker's death until final toxicology results come back in about a month. Well, they're back now. That's what the heading of this article is. Preliminary toxicology report following sudden death of Walker negative for drugs. So they're back, at least preliminarily. Wait, where's the timeline? Oh, there we are, 14th. All right. Full toxicology reports often take weeks to complete. That report could confirm the findings of an initial report. A vice president from Live by Lowe's, which is the hotel, directed all inquiries about the death to the police, saying it is a, quote, law enforcement matter. No, not according to Sergeant Wall, because he basically said, we don't have anything to do with this unless they say there's something nefarious about the death. So we don't do anything. They just said that. Now they're saying it's a police matter, but the police are exactly saying it's not a police matter. And so did ISOM. So now the hotel is also liars and holding up the damn situation, in my view. What did it say? The Vice President Lowe's directed all inquiries about the death to the police, saying it's a law enforcement matter. No, it's not. Wall said that, quote, there is no police, and now this is Wall. After they just said, the Vice President Lowe's says it's a police matter. Then the police dude comes back in, the sergeant says, there is no police investigation at this time into the death of Cora Faith Walker. Everybody's just giving you the runaround. Nothing to see here. Follow the thing here. No, we don't have it. We can't. It just, I mean, that's suspicion. That's suspicion. Call for outside investigation. Scrutiny on the incident continued when St. Louis County Councilman Tim Fitch called for the Missouri State Highway Patrol to investigate Walker's death. Why would people that are supposed to be specialists in highway matters be investigating a death? Not understanding. Fitch said ISOM's press conference reinforced his call for an outside investigation. Yes, because ISOM is suspect as fuck. Fitch took issue with ISOM's comments about the nature of the DEA task force officers' investigation into Cora's death. Fitch, a former St. Louis County Police chief, said task force officers carry DEA credentials and are deputized by the DEA. Quote, he tried to say it's a city detective who is assigned to the task force, which would be just the one that I told you guys, who just happened to be part of the DEA, just the one. I think that's who he's citing here. And Fitch is saying he tried to say it's a city detective who was assigned to the task force, but the DEA has nothing to do with the investigation, said Fitch, former St. Louis County Police Chief. Task force officers are assigned to investigate federal crimes for the agency they are assigned to. If it had nothing to do with the DEA, why didn't the city police department just assign a non-task force detective to do the investigation? You don't take a DEA task force officer, say, we're going to have you go investigate this arson. That's now how task force officers work. You don't take DEA task force officers, I think they meant, and say, we're going to have you go investigate this arson. That's now how task force officers work. Fitch said he believes the city police department is capable of investigating Cora's death, but shouldn't because of the mayor's close relationship to Cora. Well, no, because now Fitch, you putting a little strike on your credibility right there, because her relationship with the mayor is immaterial to the police. Because I have a relationship with the police, I suddenly know everybody on the police force and have a relationship with them. No. So, but Fitch said he believes the city police department is capable of investigating Walker's death, but shouldn't because of the mayor's close relationship with Cora. I don't believe that. So Fitch had me going for a minute, but now we'll cast a doubt on you. Cora and Jones were celebrating Jones's birthday at NEO on Locust 10th March. The celebration that continued at the Live by Lowe's Hotel restaurant. Jones's office confirmed. Ooh, somebody can actually confirm something without a Freedom of Information request. Jones's press secretary said Jones did not spend the night at the hotel and did not return to the hotel the next morning. And that's out there on an island by itself, everybody. Why do you need to say that? Well, it wasn't Jones. Just he wasn't there. He didn't go back. No, it wasn't him. So we don't know what to tell you. Oh, here comes Isom again. Isom said Jones. Damn it. Now, Jones's press secretary just said, no, he didn't spend the night at the hotel, and he wasn't at the hotel the next morning. That means that wasn't his room she was coming out of. That's what that's meant to tell us. Now, Isom said Jones was on a phone call with her cabinet at about 9 a.m. on 11th March, about the same time Cora was collapsing in the hotel. So he's giving an alibi to Jones now. Isom can do it all. You know what? Turns out he was also getting the oil changed on Jones's car at the same time. He did it. And he was simultaneously curing voter fraud. Just curing voter fraud everywhere. It's all Isom, everybody. It's all Isom. If you want something done, you better call Isom. So he's now placing Jones on the phone with her cabinet at 9 a.m. Where? Where was Jones on this phone call at? Isom rushed in and said, Jones was on a phone call after the press secretary just said, well, Jones didn't spend the night and wasn't there the next morning, didn't go back the next morning, so couldn't have been, that's not the room she was coming out of, so we don't know what to tell you. Then Isom rushes in, wait, well, and Jones was on the call too, so we just, all right, but where was Jones on the call at? Where's the record of that call? Where is it? And was on a call with her cabinet, so it's going to be a conference call. Where? Is that Zoom? Was it on the phone? What was it? About the same time Walker was collapsing, not at the same time the event happened, just like at the moment she was collapsing, I'm giving the alibi for where Jones was. Like this is when she's going down and the phone call's happening. Jones posted tributes to Walker on Twitter saying, quote, today our region and the world lost a giant. It's not often in life that we find friends that become members of our family. Jones retweeted tributes to Walker in the days following her death, along with criticism of news media working to learn the circumstances of Walker's death. How dare that media want to know how she died? Urgh, damn it. How dare they ask questions about how she died while I'm giving tributes to her and retweeting other people's tweets who are tributing to her, who loved her and want to know answers too. But how dare they want answers? Congresswoman Cori Bush honored Walker with a tribute for Women's History Month. Cori posted a tweet Monday sharing a photo of her holding a large photo of Cora. The U.S. Capitol is in the background. I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah, you guys saw a picture. They showed a picture in the report, right? Yeah, you see who we're talking about. Cori spoke about Cora on the floor of Congress on 18th March, the day Cora was laid to rest. Cora was elected to the Missouri House in 2016 to represent the 74th District. In 2019, she resigned to take the job with St. Louis County Executive Page's administration. Related articles. Aide to Sam Page, a former state representative, autopsy performed on top aide to St. Louis County Executive who died unexpectedly at 37. So that's on her colleague. St. Louis councilman wants state investigate into Cora Walker's death. Okay, this is a different article now. Let me see what you guys are saying about this particular case. I'm tempted to click on something else because I just am, but you gotta keep it moving, Jedi. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Do not give in to impulse. That's to Miss Matthews from Righteous. And that's also Queen Shiro. Exactly, King. He was reading. I found it suspicious because of all these Black women's deaths. KD, charcuterie board. Is that how we say it? Thank you for that, KD. And what is a charcuterie board? Excuse me, like, I still don't know. Shiro says board of cheeses, fruits, etc. I have heard that word. Because some cooking segment, somebody was showing how to make a board, like, you know, you just make one, it'd be all like as though, and like, ooh, I can't. Thank you, Andrea. Lightbearer, hi, shout out to you, Lightbearer. It's an honor to have you here, Queen. Hi, Jedi and chat. Cheryl, I'm back. Okay. KD Walker spent the night with at least 2 people. One or both of them is very influential enough to cover up her death. That's important. As would be Jones, who she was, that, you know, the person she was celebrating with. And, you know, the press secretary moved in very quickly to say Jones was in the hotel and had left and didn't go back the next day, so nothing to see here. And then, of course, Isom sweeps in on the wings of angels to immediately say, and they were on a conference call, so nothing to see there. And at the moment she was collapsing, while she was collapsing, I mean, that was the language. Good point, though, KD. Because that's what's at the crux of this, like, who has the power to cover this up now? And you know, the police, it's no surprise because the police only work for the city and the state. That's it. They do not work for your ass. They love to be at mixers. They love to stand in the courtroom and the judge is talking to them and they just feel like we're this and you're that over there and shit. Oh my God. Where's my punch? I can't, y'all. Ms. Matthews is agreeing with righteous indignation. You're saying something about James Baldwin. I'm going to move from that. I'll come back to it. Cheryl, you say most of those Black politicians are do-nothing Negroes. All of them. All right, I'm going to go to our next piece on this. You know what? And this one is a little older, everybody, but we're just taking it in context. Um, um, you know what? We're not going to go to that one first. Yeah, we'll go to this one. It's fine. No. How do I add? I don't know. I guess I just do that. I don't know what I'm doing now. Also, I said to somebody I wasn't sure about this Abdus-salaam. I thought it was Abdul, but it is Abdus. And I still don't know what it means, because you know what you must understand. There's Urdu, there's Farsi, there's Arabic that are dialects of the same yarn, if you will. So but I know it's servant something, because abd is servant or slave. Abd, it's abd. And so this says servant of all. Not understanding. But what happened to Judge Sila Abdus-salaam, Rahim of Allah? I thought I went 3. That would have been 10, 25, 50. How the story of a New York judge's death was botched. Before I begin reading, let me just check to see if anybody else had anything to say on the Cora Smith piece. Or Walker. Cassandra, shout out to you, Queen. Cheryl, Jedi, you heard about that old mammy, Maxine Waters, and what she told a group of homeless people in Los Angeles? You're going to tell me what she said, Cheryl. You're going to tell me that right now. And make me love it. But I will tell you, speaking, I've shared with you guys in the past, I met Maxine Waters. Maximum Maxine. I was working in the Valley at the time, and I learned that she was going to be speaking at this church that was near my job. And I just thought, I'm going over there to see her. And I did. Wallahi. And she was sitting up on the dais, and I got a pew in the front. And I was making eye contact with her, like, you know, like, listen, if you ever want to meet somebody famous, go with me. 100% you're going to meet them. 100%. Because most people are defeated by the people surrounding them, not the Jedi. All I gotta do is make contact with that person. Once we connect, I just disarmed everybody around them, because they can't do anything if that person is inviting me in. Don't you know, she was waving me up to the dais. I sat in the chair right next to her, right up there on the damn dais, and we spoke for probably 20 minutes or so. She's very intense, very breathy. She felt like my auntie or somebody. I forget what she was there to speak about. I think it was, I don't know what she was there to speak about. You know, I don't know. I don't know. But I was, anyways. So in recent times now, you know, with her, I'm reclaiming my time. What am I hearing? Why am I hearing it? What's going on? What's happening? What are we doing? Not understanding. What is happening? Y'all, what's happening? Oh, I'm over it. Anyway, but she is one of those people that's been up there for 1,000 years. Her district is gerrymandered off so that she can be there for 1,000 years. You know, that's how you can be in a district and be unopposed for many decades. Nobody's running against you. Nobody's challenging your seat. You know, I can't with her too. But send me whatever she said, or put a link for something in the chat or something, Cheryl, and I'm happy to look at that. We want to deal with this Abdus-salaam. And you know what? I think that I will try to make this a semi-series, everybody, because these are questionable deaths. You know, Lauren Smith Fields would be in this. You know, Sandra Bland would be in this. You know, just to give you an idea. You know, Breonna Taylor would be in this, essentially. I mean, we know what happened, but it still would be but, you know, and then we also have this other sister that you all were speaking about, this Cheryl, or this, wait, I made a note. Excuse me, something Chappelle, Tanisha Chappelle. Turns out I do know that case. I know it. I know it. I know it. I remember seeing the video. You know, she was very ill. And yeah, so we'll come to that. But now this is 2nd April of or 12th April. 2017. At 1:55 p.m., reporters and editors subscribed to emails from the New York City police scanner received a blast that said, in old school, indelicate police code, that a dead on arrival floater had been found at West 132nd Street and Henry Hudson Parkway. 13 and 2 is, or 1, 3, and 2 is 6. Within a few hours, it would become known that the body was that of Judge Sheila Abdus-salaam, the first African woman to serve on New York's highest court, the Court of Appeals. The NYPD sent out an email blast to reporters at 6:36 p.m. that read, before I read what it read, I want to use this opportunity to highlight for you something that's there. Like, you need to understand, the media and the police work together. It's like what I've always told you. You know, many of you may not even know that in the courthouses, many courthouses have a whole, we'll just say offices or booths, for lack of a better word, for reporters. So you you're Kim Kardashian, you go file for divorce and you don't know how it's on TMZ 5 minutes later, because they have people You understand? That are there, that get public records and shit right on the scene. But it's also why when we have one of us murdered, the media speaks like the police, because that's who they're all in bed together. You understand? So that was just another highlighting of that truth by how this opens up, that the police, that reporters subscribe to their email and their scanners, and they send out the shit to the press. Even in the case of the fat bitch that just shot the brother, the case we covered last night. Show me what's in your hands. Show me. Don't get out now. Don't get her fat ass. Somebody asked on that scene, did you call TV already? You see? But this is what the NYPD sent out. And by the way, this is the first black judge to serve on New York's highest court. How would this relate to Wendy Williams now if this woman was still alive? Because at what level is Wendy Williams' stuff in the courts? Because she's saying, Wendy said herself, in New York City, she was the courts. You can just take anything. You don't have to have any evidence, So I wonder what level of court is her. That comes to mind. Anyways, on Wednesday, 12th April 2017, at approximately 13:45 hours, 1:45 p.m., police responded to a 911 call of an aided female in the water. Aided? What does that mean? Aided. They're just giving me aid. Maybe it will gleam itself, but responding to a call of an aided female in the water in the vicinity of Hudson River and West 132nd Street within the confines of the 26th precinct. Not understanding. Upon arrival, police discovered an unidentified female unconscious and unresponsive. NYPD Harbor Unit removed the female to West 125th Street and Marginal Street. Interesting. Where EMS responded and pronounced the female deceased. 125th Street is in New York is like 125th Street, like Harlem, the Apollo. Interesting, they put 125th and marginalized, marginal, 125th Street and Marginal Street. Who thinks this is a random coincidence? Who thinks this now? Where EMS responded, okay, and they pronounced her dead. If this bitch starts talking again, it's going to be on. Shut up, white whore. You know what? Let me just get rid of that because we're done with that story anyways. Over it. Where EMS responded and pronounced female dead, deceased. The medical examiner will determine the cause of death, and the investigation is ongoing. All right. That's an outtake. All right. The email concluded by identifying Abdus-salaam, 65, as the deceased. The New York Post, that's the other reason I'm also doing this too, is because not only was she an African female, but she's also a Muslim by her name. New York Post story, the New York Post story on the judge's death, published half an hour before the NYPD email went out. What? So this email, remember, it opens up at 1:55, 12th of April. The email, editors who subscribe to the police email scanner received a blast. All right, that blah blah blah, dead on arrival, a floater, etc. Then it says 12th of April. Then same day, that's at 1:55. But then now they're saying 1:45 at 13:45 hours. They responded to the call, blah, 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 125th Street. But then they say the email concluded by identifying her as the deceased. Then the next sentence, the New York Post story on the judge's death, published half an hour before the email went out, reported that it, quote, appeared to be a suicide, end quote, to, quote, sources, end quote. The New York Post. Something's not lining up right now, but we're going to read on and maybe it will self-clarify. But that's, anyways, the New York Times and the New York Daily News, apostrophe, initial stories did not make that leap, saying only that the judge's body bore no signs of trauma and police found, quote, no signs of criminality, end quote. But the Post was saying in their early reports before the email went out, oh, it's a suicide. We know it is. The next day, however, both outlets were alleging suicide. After they didn't make the leap, but the next day, yep, it was a suicide. Despite the NYPD's chief of detectives, Robert Boyce, telling reporters after a swearing-in ceremony at the police academy in College Point, Queens, that morning that it was, quote, too early to tell right now. Boyce's caution, Robert Boyce, his caution was undermined by anonymous leaks to reporters. Anonymous sources are customary when reporting on anything involving the NYPD because they want money. And they also want favoritism. It's a monolithic entity where few are authorized to speak on the record, and their public information's office is notoriously uncooperative. But in this case, the blind sourcing was compelled or coupled with reporting later called into question, leading readers confused and mistrustful. And in today's aggregation-heavy media environment, even errors that are corrected get repeated ad nauseum. Nick Reisman, R-E-I-S-M-A-N, Reisman, an Albany-based cable news reporter and a Zionist, was the first to flag erroneous reporting on Abdus-salaam. In a blog post titled Anatomy of an Error, published on 13th April at 5:44 p.m., Reisman reported that the commonly held belief that Abdus-salaam was the first Muslim judge in the United States may not have been accurate. Of course, the Zionist wants to challenge that. Well, she wasn't the first Muslim, so you see. I was already suspect when I saw his name. I know what that name comes with. And he's a cable news reporter, definitely a Zionist. And in his blog titled Anatomy of an Error, reported that the commonly held belief, that means everybody believes it. But me, I'm a know-it-all, and I know all those people are wrong. We all saw the Hindenburg go down, but no, Reisman knows it never happened. Just he alone knows it never happened. So we're just all wrong. We're just all wrong. That she was the first Muslim judge in the United States may not have been accurate. Well, that's not how I understand it. I understand that she was the first Muslim judge in New York's bureaucracy, not in the United States. White people, man. It will be a glorious day on earth when they no longer exist. That's when you will finally have humanity. You can't have it while they exist. You can't. They're not peaceable. They're not peaceful. You can't have it. Citing Court of Appeal spokesman Gary Spencer, Reisman wrote that Abdus-salaam's first husband was Muslim, but the judge herself never converted. Spencer, why is this the issue? Why is this the issue? We're here about a death. Why is this the issue? Let's just move on, everybody. Wait, whatever. Anonymous sources are customary when reporting on anything involved in NIP. This was the first. I need the details. On the statement issued by the judge's family, clarified that Abdus-salaam born Sheila Turner had not been practicing Muslim. What the fuck? This is not. Why is this the issue? Because white people obsess. There's nobody else. There's no Latino. Hear me, everybody. There's no Latino. There's no Arab. There is no Asian of any stripe. There's no other human on the earth that this would be the story. Nobody else cares except for white people. I'm 100% right on that. 100% right on that. All this ink for this over a Zionist, by the way, who would want you to declare him a Jew and he's not. You see? While he stands in judgment of this woman who's dead, by the way, who's not making any claims of her cultural anything. But this is the story. This is the specious evil of white people. More evidence of nothing but pure evil that's there. That's it. We're here about a death, but this confronts us now. I'm just going to pick another article because we just need to understand the death. We're coming up on our timeline too, everybody. That's why I said you can't exist in this society without daily and moment by moment running into white evil. Because that's the only thing that flows from these people is evil. That's it. I don't see nothing else. I don't see shit else. And I don't give a damn about their proclamations, because that's one of their other sicknesses, is that they think just because they proclaim something, it's supposed to be the gospel truth. When that's exactly not the truth. It's exactly opposite. If they're even breathing, it's a lie. I really don't want the New York anything now. Timeline of events. Timeline of events surrounding suspicious death, New York judge. All right, there's also a news report. Let's hear this statement to see if there's any evidentiary value here. Come on, man. All right.
Efforts this morning to get new information on the death of a groundbreaking New York judge. They say the death is suspicious because there is no clear indication of suicide or criminality. Police released this poster with a picture of Justice Sheila Abdus-salaam, asking anyone who saw her in the days and hours leading up to her death to come forward. Abdus-salaam, who was the first African-American woman to be appointed to New York's highest court, was found dead in the Hudson River 1 week ago. Police have been investigating her death as an apparent suicide.
Notice the skin color,
NYPD redoubling their
everybody.
efforts this morning to get
wait.
new information on the death
that
of a
was
ground.
All right, yeah, it was just a 27-second clip. All right, so, all right, that didn't tell us anything. With the body of prominent New York judge Sheila Abdus-salaam, when it was discovered on 12th April alongside the Hudson River in Manhattan, family, friends, and those who knew her best in the New York community were stunned. As the first African woman to be appointed to the State's Court of Appeals, she was a pioneer. Again, this also slams the shit out of Reisman's claim that I already told you about, that the claim was not she was the first African-American Muslim judge in the country, just in New York State's bullshit. In the State's Court of Appeals. She was a pioneer. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, that criminal, who appointed Abdus-salaam to the State's Court of Appeals in 2013, tells Associated Press. Through her writings, her wisdom, and her unshakable moral compass, she was a force for good whose legacy will be felt for years to come. While officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity, officials, you're an official, but you got to speak on account of conditions of anonymity, initially told the Associated Press that the death was believed to be a suicide. A spokeswoman for the city's medical examiner later countered those statements, saying that an autopsy conducted on 65-year-old Abdus-salaam's body was inconclusive and required further investigation. I'm over it. It's like John F. Kennedy said, the very word secrecy is repugnant in an open and free society. The very word, he was saying. I mean, that he just to be even that specific was so profound. Like, that's how much there should be no secrecy in an open and free society. But all we have is fucking secrecy. With the New York Police Department officially referring to her death as suspicious, below is a timeline of events leading up to Abdus-salaam's death. 24th March, Judge Abdus-salaam, who was a 1997 graduate of Columbia University Law School, spoke at her alma mater's third annual Empowering Women of Color conference on Friday, 24th March. Columbia University Law School remembered the highly respected judge with a post on her school's website on 13th April, where Dean Gillian Lester wrote, quote, and perhaps making this loss most sharply painful, next Tuesday, she was to be the featured speaker at our annual Alumni of Color gathering, an event that will be postponed in light of this terrible loss. Abdus-salaam was also a committee member for her class's 40th reunion in June. Now, so we start with 24th March. Now, 27th March, the week of 27th March, Marilyn Mosby, an official at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland and a close friend of Abdus-salaam, told the New York Times, remember, Marilyn Mosby is your Baltimore sister, that after Freddie Gray came out and said there will be justice on this, and all the fucking white people's heads rolled off. Wow. She told the New York Times that she met with her friend for breakfast just 2 weeks before her death in New York. I'm not going to read the rest of that. We just want details. Weekend of 8th April. She split her time between her New Jersey home. Shout out to you, Queen. That she shared with her husband. And the weekend before her death. Okay, don't need to know this. All right. 12th August or 12th April. The body was, well, we'll maybe go the day before. 11th April. She spoke to her assistant by telephone Tuesday morning, the Associated Press reported. Later that day, around 8 p.m., a surveillance video recovered by the NYPD shows Abdus-salaam walking alone in the direction of the river in her Harlem neighborhood, according to ABC owned station WA whatever. Well, where's that video? Where is it? And that's the day before she's found. 8 p.m. walking in the direction. What does that mean? In the direction. In the direction is different than towards. Those are two different destinations. I was walking in the direction of the store. I was walking towards the store. Those are two different, they're different. 12th April, the body of the highly respected judge was found at 1:45 p.m. after someone spotted it on the shore of the Hudson River near West 132nd Street. But just a second. They said there was no damage to her body or any signs of criminality. So how do I drown myself other than jumping in and taking a deep breath and hoping that I do die? It's a very difficult way to kill yourself. You know, you're more successful if you drown by accident. And this is the Hudson River. It's not like the Pacific Ocean where the tide is just coming in all the time. Oh my God. So how long would it take for a body to wash up on the shore? And did you not go into deep water? Did you just drown yourself there at the shore? How deep were you out? That I mean, there's some things to get your mind around for this to be a suicide. You know, you could drown somebody right there at the shore in just a cup full of water. Just hold their head and face and mouth in so they can't get a breath. I could kill you. I may have done some things like that. I don't want to say nothing, but I'm just saying it works. I told, maybe. Moving on. All right, the body. So police who initially said no foul play was suspected in the case are now going back on their word after further investigation revealed no clear indication of suicide or criminality, according to the whatever the fuck the people are. So the police are saying we're not so sure about that there was no foul play. And I would suggest to you that one of the reasons why they went so long in that previous article to say, well, she was never a Muslim. It was her first husband, and because why would they go to such length? Well, white evil is first and foremost. But second to that is going to be even a Zionist will know that one of the hard, firm rules for any Muslim is we do not kill ourselves. Allah has told us that He will forgive you and can forgive you for almost anything. But among the things you are absolutely not going to be forgiven for is taking your own life. Suicide is out for the Muslim. Out, 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 damn it, out. That's why I knew when they came up with this whole, this advent of the suicide bomber, those are not Muslims. That's not a Muslim. And you want me to believe that they're supposed to be religious fanatics? A fanatic is somebody that you don't want to be around because they're a damn nitpick. Oh, well, you didn't cross your T, you didn't dot your I. Well, look, there's a spot of dust there. That's a fanatic. So you're going to tell me an Islamic fanatic, that means that what we call in Islam, we call them the haram police. Like anything you do that's not Islamic, there they are. We call them the haram police. And so when I heard this, whenever I first heard this, probably when Bush was in office, I began to hear this term suicide bomber as related to supposedly Muslim people. And I just knew that's not true. No devout Muslim is going to kill themselves. Now, you can take out a whole bunch of the enemy. Absolutely. But kill yourself? Nah. Deliberately you're going to strap a bomb to go and kill others, which is righteous to kill your enemy, but not to kill yourself. So you immediately will not receive any ajr for that. You will be condemned. So I knew that was a lie. Again, knowledge converging, everybody. If you don't know that detail, you don't have to be a Muslim. But if you know something about Muslims, now you do. So if you hear that, you go, I know, because I know that's against Islamic law. It just wouldn't happen. So one more. And this is from the New York City Medical Examiner. I think that would be wise because they kind of know stuff. New York City Medical Examiner, judge whose body was found in Hudson River committed suicide. This is a New York City Medical Examiner saying this now. This is 26th July of that year. 3 months later. New York, a prominent judge whose body was found in the Hudson River, a prominent judge, now they say, that's how they lead off. She was on the high court of the state, and she was an African woman, but they say a judge, a prominent judge. Could have been anybody. Could have been anybody. You know, I think it was Chocolate Rhythm. It was. It wasn't Abdus-salaam, it turns out. A judge, bitch, whose body was found in the Hudson River in April committed suicide. The city's Office of Medical Examiner announced Wednesday. The cause of death was drowning. The office said in relation to the death of Sheila Abdus-salaam, who was the first African woman appointed to the New York State Court of Appeals, the state's highest court, but they opened with a prominent judge, bitch. It's meant to be disrespectful. Because she's just anybody. But in the next paragraph, they give the accolade of who she was. Quote, it's an incredibly sad situation. Eric Phillips, spokesman for New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, told USA Today by way of email, quote, the legal community and our entire city are very much reeling from the loss. Rebecca Wilson, a spokeswoman for Abdus-salaam's family, told USA Today Wednesday the family had no comment at this time because they think it's some bullshit. But if that changes, updates will be posted on the website created after the judge's death. The Court of Appeals did not have a comment. Spokesman Gary Spencer said the fully clothed body of Abdus-salaam, 65, was found 12th April in the water off of West 132nd Street in Harlem, one day after she was reported missing. There were no signs of trauma or criminality, officials said. Well, I think the very fact that she was drowned is a sign of trauma and criminality. She's a 65-year-old woman. She's a judge, a lawyer. They come with a certain demure, a certain je ne sais quoi. It's like I told you guys long before Kamala's ass was president, when she was still running. I go, if she becomes president, I said, you're never going to get anything out of her but a pantsuit. You're never going to see her in spiked heels and Christian Louboutin and some flowing gowns. I've worked for too many attorneys, and I know a lot of female attorneys. They're that. They don't do a lot of gussing up. They're not at the nail salon every week getting their nails done. They may file their nails in their office while they're working on some case or something like that. It's a brush and go. They don't have time. They don't have time. And they typically don't gussy up. Even seeing the picture of this woman. Okay, fine, she's 65 and she's an African woman, but even her hair is cut close because she don't really have time for wigs and braids, and she just doesn't have time. She's a lawyer. She's a judge, for God's sake. So she's 65 years old. What are the other surrounding avenues of her life? Who's her husband? What was the state of her marriage? Does she have kids? How old were they? Are they still living at home? Have they left home? Did she have a new grandbaby on the way or just been born? I mean, these are things to look at when you're trying to look at a provocation for somebody to commit suicide that's 65 years old and has been appointed to a position that is groundbreaking. But they can just easily and quickly, well, it was suicide and we know what it was, so we're just moving on. That's why the family said, well, we don't know yet, so we're not really won't have shit to say. We good, the fully clothed body. Where's the note? This is a jurist. She could have written something, something. No note. The fully clothed body of Abdus-salaam, 65, was found 12th April in the water off of I read that. There was no signs of trauma and blah, blah. All right. At the time of her death, the New York Daily News and other news organizations reported that law enforcement sources told them, no, their bed buddies told them, because they were all in cahoots, the New York Daily News and the Post and the New York Times and everybody else, that the officials were looking at suicide as a possible cause of death. I suggest you they were looking at that as the story they were going to tell, not the cause. Like they just said, at the time of her death, the New York Times and everybody else and law enforcement reported that law enforcement sources told them that the officials, we're going to read it like this, the official story was going to be suicide. That's how we're going to read that. But the medical examiner's office would not confirm that. The tragedy drew, well, it's suicide. None of us are medical people. We're just journalists and mall cops that eat fucking donuts all day. We don't know anything about medicine or anything. And then but the medical examiner's office would not confirm that, since they're medical and they know some stuff. The tragedy drew an outpouring of grief from the highest levels of New York City and New York state government. Don't care about that. Cuomo, nobody cares. Abdus-salaam, a native of Washington, D.C., attended Barnard College on a scholarship before attending and graduating from Columbia University School of Law. She was first elected judge of the Civil Court of the City of New York in 1991. She was elected as a justice to New York State Supreme Court in 93 and 2007. The LBJ, I'm over it. Don't care what the fucking gay people have to say about her. Nobody cares. And that's the end of the article. I'll just see if there's any update like this, anything newer. Oh, there it is. Will Smith resigned from the Academy following Chris Rock's slap at Oscars. Tennessee ballplayer called out after homering due to that issue. Not understanding. I clicked. Why isn't it going back? Oh, fine. I guess we're not doing another one then. One more click. I tried. It's not going back. Bitch. I knew it was going to do that. Let me do all that and then just get stuck. I'm over it. All right. Anjane 23, shout out to you. Sweet D, shout out to you. Let me see who I missed, y'all. Thanks for that, Cheryl. Hopefully it's going to let me click on it. First, let me see if I missed any on this case. Maxine. Cassandra. By the way, how are you feeling, Cassandra? Cheryl, Jedi, can you tell me when did they find Judge Sheila's body? I may have heard of this case a while back. Well, it was in what do we say, April of 2017. Let me see if it's going to let me click on this link you sent. It won't. When I click, it just lights up because it wants me to, I can't click on the link, Cheryl. But I'll Google it, just like what Maxine said about homeless people, and get something. I want to move quickly through this, y'all. Let's see. Miss Matthews, back then on the news, Judge Sheila's family asked, why would she choose that location of the Hudson River when she could have walked to a closer part of it near her home? KD, the judge's case was never solved. It was written off as suicide. She just got a promotion to the highest court in New York State. I smelled BS when I read that article. This is relevant, Miss Matthews. You say for them to freeze Wendy's account, legally earned money, citing she's not mentally fit to handle that account of money, 40 million, huh? Howard Hughes was labeled eccentric. Did they freeze his shit? No, they did not. And he was notoriously like, don't talk to, he would do full ventures, full business ventures and all kinds of stuff on the phone. Like nobody would see him. They don't know where he's at. I mean, it's a whole thing, dude. That's an excellent point, Ms. Matthews. Very well. And right, how do banking people make medical decisions? We're still figuring that out. We're still learning. Moreover, Wendy was has lucid professionals in her family. Her sister is a lawyer. Her son, her POA proxy on paper. Why would they still choose to freeze her legally? Because it's Zionists. Do you understand? The very people that don't want you to say they own every fucking thing own everything. And we hear by the names that she's mentioning who she has in her camp. So this is not some secret, you understand? And it's a heist. It's a heist. Just like in these stories, we saw the collusion in that first story of Cora Walker. You had the collusion of the police, the fucking, I mean, everybody, the ISOM dude. I mean, everybody's just like one cabal of bullshit. This is no different. No different. No different. No different. That's why you hear me bitch about we don't have any expression of that going on for us, where black people are colluding against fucking white people. Actively colluding against their shit and sabotaging. That's what we need. That's what we need, and we don't have it. You go on, Cheryl, you say, Maxine, this old broad hurled F-bombs at the crowd. What? I think she's like 5,000 years old now anyways. Jedi, I think that Judge Sheila used to punish those dirty cops, and they may have done something to her. I believe that's the story on her. I think she was a good, honest, and fair judge. That's the road to go down, Cheryl. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So we have to, that's the road we're going to go down. We need to know, was she controversial in some sort of way? What was the reaction to her appointment to the bench by Cuomo? And, was that political? Did she have something on him? I mean, we don't know, but there's a lot of critical questions that are just not being asked. My angel, sweet Akibalan Violet. What's up, Javashi? Greetings and good evening, my queen, my angel. Wait, you stepping on ground here, Miss Matthews. I just feel like I'm gonna be outside your house at some point this week, Miss Matthews. I just feel like for some reason I'm gonna be on your street at least. Feel me? Just like I'm on the street though. You feel me? But you say in the song "Scream," my wife. You should have said your wife, Jedi. So see, that's a strike right there. You saying Janet. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to say Jedi, your wife. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why I'm not reading that. Just not understanding. Janet sung, quote, if you say I'm wrong, then you better. No, this is wrong, and you're quoting wrong lyrics. So this is all right. Listen, I have a hit team in most cities in this country, so I'm gonna have to call the hit on you, Miss Matthews. I don't want. I hate to do it. 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 But you leave me no choice. And once I've given the order, I can't call it back. It's above me now. I tell you you're wrong, but then you better prove you're right. You're selling our souls, but I care about mine. Come on, girl. I wrote the song. What are we doing here? You feel me? Make your check payable to Jedi. I was wrong. I was wrong. Jedi. P.O. Box. That's the address. But you go on to say, then you got to prove you're right. Did they furnish proof of who was the first Muslim judge? Of course not. White people just make statements and it's supposed to be gospel without any evidence at all. While criticizing the other people for having no evidence, I showed it. So, that's Shiro to my angel to Shiro. Frankie, what does Allah say about higher dimensions? Well, Frankie, remember I did a video here on the channel. It's called Who is Allah? Who is Allah? And it's very so that, and you've also heard me speak about the Barzakh. So there, if you go see this video, in fact, if I could, I'll link it in the chat if I find it. In this Who is Allah, you see the description of the seven heavens. I've said about that piece, anybody watching that, your hair should be white when you finish watching that video. Your hair should be white. And you should be transfixed and petrified. It's so profound. So that that would get into your dimensions, but specifically also speaking about the barzakh. This is a dimension. This word is used by Allah in Quran in two ways. One is when Allah is saying to us, and this is also in the video I did about miracles of Islam, that's here on the channel, this barrier that is between the fresh water and the salt water. They do not mix by the will of Allah, it says in Quran. Now, this is a revelation being revealed nearly 1,500 years ago to a man who could not read or write, who was in his 40th year of life. But nowadays, you could just punch it up on YouTube and you can see, as the Quranic revelation says, and there will be ships sailing like mountains upon them, and they will not mix. And literally in this video that I show you, it's a ship, a fucking big ass ship, like a mountain, subhanAllah. And you see them filming this. It's clearly, they won't mix. You can see the line between the fresh water and the salt water. But what is this between them? The barzakh. That's the dimension. It's the will of Allah that they will not mix. But this is the dimension, if you will, between these two waters. But Allah also uses it again when he's telling you about when you leave this earth. When you die, that there's a barzakh between this and the judgment and the hereafter. A barzakh. So you say dimension, I say barzakh, but we're speaking of the same thing, Frankie. So yes, that's some of what Islam touches on with regard to dimensions, if you will. You know, even the Prophet spoke of, you know, here's another one for you. We'll classify this as dimensions as I'm trying to find the video. The Prophet spoke of the people in their graves. You know, when we pray for people, we also pray for those who have died. We continue to pray for them. Usually people die, nobody prays for them anymore. Most people, most Christians, only pray for the living. And why would they pray for anybody else? Because at their funeral, they said that Christ died for them, and they know they're in a better place now, and they just kind of leave it alone, and they're done with it, you know? Well, that's not the end of the story, people. Judgment has not happened yet. So people are in their graves. And what we know about consciousness and death and dying, this is why we always pray for those who have died. We continue to pray for the mercy from Allah for them and their souls, but we also ask Allah to give them space and light in their grave, and they not be tortured in their grave. Because the Prophet ﷺ said to the companions on the subject of death and dying, if you knew what Allah allowed me to hear as I walked among the graves, you would never want to be there. Because there are horrible things happening to people in their grave, and we cannot perceive it. We can't perceive it. We can't perceive it. Horrible things. Horrible, horrible, horrible things are happening to people in their graves. So there's a dimension there, if you will, Frankie. I'm trying to find this damn video. I feel like I know what I'm looking for. And I would have a pretty good sense of, I should be looking for both of them at the same time. And we're going to have to start landing everybody, because we're just not doing, we can't, because as I told you all, Ramadan starts in the morning, and like I I have to make sure that I'm up early enough to have support. I'm just going to try and find at least one of these, and then the other one, it'll just be your homework to try and find the other one. The Miracles of Islam, the miracles in Islam. I think is what I titled it. You have to just search my channel. It's here on the channel, everybody. I've done the work. I've done the work. I do the work. There's a wealth of knowledge on this channel for anybody who's interested. You understand? I've done it. But if you don't go and seek it, that's on you. That's on you. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to just open this because I can't. I found this one. Who is Allah? In fact, it's not that long. Well, I'm not going to play it. You're going to watch it. I will put it in the chat, though. I'm kind enough to do that. Here is the link for the video, everybody. It shouldn't be hard for you to find it because if you see my name in the chat, it's only there because I put something. I'm not typing comments in my chat. You know. Wait, where'd it go? Although I don't see me now. Okay, there it is. I accidentally put it twice. There it is. Go and watch it. Let me catch up on these comments and we're gonna land, everybody. We're already half hour over what I thought I would do. Oh, I want to do the Maxine Waters thing, but I gotta get through these comments. I read that. No, yeah, I read that. Shiro, what's also strange about the judge's murder is where's her husband? And wouldn't her Muslim family have been outraged, is what you meant? That's also a very good question because it also provokes another thought for me too, Shiro. And that is, I would like to know, so we're gonna have to pick this case up again because I need to know. I'm gonna make a note as I'm saying it. I need to know when did she die and when was she buried? That's going to matter because I told you, Muslims, we don't languish around with burial. Do you understand? If you die today, we can have you in the grave today. There's no languishing. Before that sun makes another full cycle, you are supposed to be in the ground. That's it. So we can allow because, you know, if there was an autopsy and you know, but it's still going to be a very short window potentially. I'd like to know that. And was she given a janazah? How was the burial? Was it one of these Christian things with a coffin and all that, or was she given a proper Muslim burial? That will settle that, you know. Anjane, what's up, Queen? You say, what's up, fam? The story about the judge that drowned never sat right with me. I never believed it. Or the Black CDC scientist. Yeah, and my video of the CDC scientist here on the channel. Let's see. Sweet D, that blessings to you, Sweet D. Anjane, side note, Lee Daniels. Lee. Lee Daniels. You have to say it like that because Oprah makes it a fucking sentence, his name. That's the only reason I knew who he was. I never knew who Lee Daniels was, dude. I didn't know who he was. I didn't have no reason to know him. He doesn't owe me money. I don't know who he is. Until Precious, because Oprah was, you know, campaigning for the movie, basically, you know, and it was just like, you know, when I spoke to director Lee Daniels, so I need to know who is this Lee Daniels. So Lee Daniels finally apologized to Monique in front of everyone. Damn, are y'all bringing all this stuff down? Damn it. What was the other one? We're supposed to, Maxine Waters. Wait now, goddammit. Damn it. Maxine Waters. Lee Daniels apologizes to Monique. I'm over it. Will Smith resigned from the Academy. Might as well put that one in here. Man. Willa. Shout out to you. I told you I have an aunt named Willa. Barbara Edwards. Shout out to you, Queen. Major shout out to you. Major shout out. Good evening, Barbara Edwards. And then there's me, and then there's me, and that's it. Okay, now, so we're going to go, everybody, only because, as I said to you, Ramadan starts in the morning. So you have to be up before of the first prayer, because you have to have something to eat. If you don't have something to eat, your fast is not accepted. It's not accepted. This holy month for Muslims, the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, is the holiest time for Muslims, mankind. It is a resetting of your whole spiritual everything. And it's almost, it's not even almost. It's your maker giving your trifling ass a chance to atone and repent for everything. So much of your burden is lifted during this holy month. Your shortcomings, your faults. You know, I live a righteous life, but somebody like me, I need to atone for the profanity I use in my videos. You know, those are my only crimes in life. That's really it. You know, I don't want to sound like I'm like the perfect, I'm a prophet. I'm not. But I can tell you what things that I do that I know are not pleasing to God. And it's only my damn profanity. That's it. I don't have shit else. You know, I don't do anything else that is in disobedience to the one who created me. You know, do I get my 5 daily prayers in every single day, all 5 of them? No. There are days when I don't. So there's that. But nonetheless, I still have to, you know, Ramadan also means something to me because I always tell you, I don't live for this life. This is not it for me. And the promise that I made to my grandmother, the queen of my entire existence on planet Earth, I must put my best foot forward. I must. She's expecting me in paradise. She's expecting me. She's expecting me. And so that means everything to me, you know. I do invite any of you to, if you want to at least do the fasting portion of it, just do one day. Just do one. There are some of you I know who have done it before. Just do one day. I ask all of you, just do one day. That means You get something to eat before the sun comes. You don't have to worry about any of the prayers or the Quran and all the other stuff we're doing. You don't have none of that to do. So you just have something to eat before the sun comes up. And in your case, I'll say have whatever you want. And then you can't have anything until the sun is setting in the sky. No water, nothing. Just your spit. That's it. Nothing. Try one day. One. Just do one. And tell me how you fared. You know, even if you didn't make it through, you know, just like you started and you got to a certain point. Whatever your story is, I'd love to hear it. But I would also love for you to try it. I've said this to my people every year, for the most part. You know, when it comes to Ramadan, I always invite everybody to do one day. Just do one. Just do one. Because what this does for your sense of self-restraint and self-discipline is beyond measure. You know, Ramadan is why I, as a man, have control of my impulses and my urges. You know, it's why I'm a single man. I'm not that hard to look at. And I could be out pillaging the entire fucking neighborhood. You feel me? It's not like I don't have the options. But it is my taqwa, my iman, that keeps me in check. Do you understand? That's one of the many benefits of living a life where I have been, fasting in Ramadan has been part of my life for most of my life. You know, it's why I have not taken out, you know, the entire federal building someplace or something, you know, yet. And I don't know if that's really restraint. That's just I'm not organized yet. So just, you know, we'll hold that in the whole category. But the benefit upon you, your spiritual vessel is beyond measure, everybody, when it comes to Ramadan, you know. So even if you're not going to get to the spiritual and all that of it, if you could challenge yourself to do one day so that at least you could appreciate, hear this, so at least you could appreciate, and it's not some other thing when even I'm speaking about it, you know, have the experience for yourself. That's part of gaining knowledge. You know, so at the very least, you can look back and go, you know what? I tried that whole fasting thing. I did one day of the whole fasting thing that Muslims are doing. At least I understand it. Whether it's for you or not, at least you can speak on it now. You know, but without the experience, you have no credibility at all, and you should sit out. So I invite you to, you know, try one day. Just try one, and I don't know if I can do that fast, so we're just gonna have to land, y'all, because I'm already 43 minutes over. I thought we could do it in 2 hours, and that didn't happen. I really am tempted to speak. I want to know what happened with Maxine bitch ass. All right, quickly, damn it. Just Maxine. Don't tell me shit. Maxine Waters. What? What'd she do? There's something that says Maxine Waters go home video. Let me see if that's it. Warns reporters over LA homelessness. Maxine Waters tells homeless to go home. Maxine Waters tells homeless to go home. I just need a straight up article. I don't need nobody's bullshit. This is the Washington Examiner. Damn it. All right, I don't like this layout. I need a story I feel. I need to feel it. And I just don't feel that. It just didn't have the right graphics or something. I can't work with that. Oh, this is dramatic. Maxine Waters has testy exchange with crowd over Section 8 vouchers. That's all y'all got? There's no continuation to the story? Nothing after the... Okay, nothing here. It's just a picture and that says that. That's it. All right, we're moving on. The Daily Mail. This is going to be War and Peace. All right, we're just going to quickly scan this and we're landing everybody. What the hell is all this pop-up shit? A big ass thing just popped up in the way. Got it. Whatever. All right, let me bring you in. Let's scan this quickly and be over. Share. All right. Maxine, the bitch is 83, sparks fury by telling homeless crowd to, quote, go home when they crashed LA emergency shelter event in search of housing vouchers. You know, not just Maxine, but if you've been in the presence of any of these politicians, when they go to their district, they're very dismissive, you know. And again, it's because the people are so fucking civil. You understand? These people should always be in fear for their very next breath. In a real democracy, that's the way it would be. If your mama gave you $10 to go to the corner store to get something, you are pressed to make sure you get the shit she told you and bring the change back the way she told you. Because there is a problem if you don't. So this should be times 1,000 that, you know. These people should be in fear of their constituency. Bitch, didn't we tell you to get up there and do such and such, bitch? And be all in her face with your spit flying at her. I mean, it should be like that. She doesn't need to come in her fucking Givenchy and fucking her security and shit. And oh, it's Maxine. Fuck her. Her and everybody else up there on fucking Capitol Hill should be an absolute terror of their district. Terror is nothing less. Maxine sparked outrage among a crowd of homeless Americans. Homeless Americans. So we know she must have been seeing a lot of white folks. Because if they suddenly became homeless Americans, you know, we know it's not black folks. You know, a crowd of homeless Americans. But this is the Daily Mail, which is British, so maybe that's what they're insinuating in the Americans thing. But you're talking about Maxine Waters. We kind of know she's American, so no need to. So my first statement stands. Sparked outrage among a crowd of homeless Americans late last week when she told them to go home during a tense confrontation in LA. The LA Times, which reported on the incident, claimed the 83-year-old hag, I'm sorry, it says progressive congresswoman. Okay. I thought I saw hag. I thought I saw it, but I thought I saw it though, because I saw it. Tried to stop the outlet from publishing the story by warning its investigative reporter that they would, quote, hurt themselves and the community. She's 83, man. She's a bitch from hell anyway. But now she's 83. So that's an 83-year-old bitch from hell. Like we're just gonna get nothing but comedy from Maxine Waters from now on. That's what's gonna happen. She had reportedly been trying to subdue a riled up group of people who had come to a nonprofit advocacy group event misled by a social media post into believing they could obtain Section 8 vouchers for permanent subsidized housing, which was probably done by some white-ass Republican redneck devil. Fathers and mothers who care, the group which opened its South Los Angeles office to help California's homeless get emergency shelter, found itself swamped with hundreds of people who were frustrated and growing unruly. On Friday, Maxine told the crowd, "You cannot get a Section 8 voucher here. You cannot get I can't do her because she has that sagging mouth. And she has really plump lips, though. That's the thing. I couldn't stop staring at her lips when I was sitting talking to her on the dais that day. You cannot get a Section 8 voucher here." Later, she told them to go home, and fury broke out. We don't got no home. That's why we're here. And I'm just gonna add a dumb bitch to that because it just feels like it should be there, right? We don't got no home. That's why we're here, dumb bitch. Like it works. You have to have it. What home we gonna go to? I'm mad that they're printing this in literal Ebonic language and not even giving the speakers the benefit of the doubt. You know, like they're literally printing this. And I suggest maybe this wasn't what the crowd was saying at all, because just because you're homeless doesn't mean you're inarticulate. You understand what I'm telling you? I've been homeless, and listen to me. I sounded just like this when I was homeless. But so this is the Daily Mail, which is white devils that are running it. So, I mean, I can't. What home we gonna go to? One person in the crowd yelled. You didn't bother to get to them and take their statement and get their name so you could cite them since they are homeless. Others attempted to run Waters' attention, attempted to turn Waters' attention to how many people were already gathered here and had been for hours. Nothing more is going to happen here today, Waters said, waving her arms. Someone else called, "Miss Maxine, you need to work with me." She then erupted at activists who confronted her on the failings of California's housing system, the video obtained by the Times shows. "Excuse me, there's nobody in Washington who works for their people any fucking harder than I do. I don't want to hear this. No, Waters said angrily. She added, "What do you think I do every day? You want me to start naming shit, Maxine?" When asked for more cooperation with the community. What you do every day, I'm still on the damn street," a woman yelled. She pointed out to the frustrated crowd, "The money that you got thus far came from me in Washington, D.C. Because the check didn't say Maxine on it, bitch. I will continue to work. I will get the information. There are no more vouchers today," Waters said before leaving in her darked out Suburban and her security. And somebody thought they smelled a very ancient smelling fart. That was something else. It's in another article. A voice can be heard calling after her, "There were never any vouchers." But Waters apparently blamed the federal government for the chaos in comments to ABC7. "I blame those who have the money that we have sent from the federal government, who have not been able to communicate properly and to provide the services that we worked so hard for," she said. So she's trying to end it on a positive note. I'm not going to read any more of this, but I want to say this to close us out finally. This is a bone of contention for me, big time, y'all. Like, homelessness is something that I'm obsessed by, really. There's not a time that I'm out driving somewhere and you got to see somebody on a bench or somebody on a corner or something. I just tear up bad, because I believe that if you're born, you exist. So fine, you're not going to have a fucking private jet and a yacht and you won't ever, but you should be guaranteed a roof over your fucking head and food to eat. The basics. Like, you definitely get that no matter what. And not begrudging like a 4-person family has to be in a 1-bedroom efficiency or some shit. That's like, we don't really want to do shit for you, but here, you feel me? Like, give you something that is livable so you can feel some sense of I belong, some nice place to call home. When I walk through my front door, I would say Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. And I love when I leave, and I'll leave this lamp burning sometime so that my house always smells really good, and I smell like my house. But it's something about when you come to your front door that is so, like, that's my achievement of the day, to walk through my front door, where I am the king, and where I, conjure, and I'm forever against anyone judging anyone homeless that asks you for shit. You don't ask them. And by the way, for all those people who sat back all the years I was sitting here trying to raise my lousy $10,000, like whoever it was that dared to ask me about fucking Africa yesterday on the live, and I shut her ass down because how dare you ask me? And it's probably a person that didn't give me shit. So those same people wouldn't give me shit. The man on the street doesn't have a fucking prayer from those people. Not one. Not one. And that's the issue. Again, going back to Islam. When you live the way of life that the one who created everything that you're ever going to know, when you live that way of life, you don't have no problems. You understand what I'm telling you? And one of the things that Allah has decreed is that charity is the right of the poor upon the rich. You owe them. Why? Because when Allah blesses you, you think you got it on your own, and you self-arrived in shit. So there's information in that, even in that statement, is the right of the poor upon the rich. You go, how do they have a right? Because that's telling you didn't get your own shit, bitch. You didn't. You didn't. It's like your mama give you $10 and say, give your sister $5. Because she gave it to you. She gets to tell you what you're doing with it. So the divine is saying charity is the right of the poor upon the rich. It's their right. So when you are out spending frivolous money on shit you don't have to have, and you've not done anything to try and enrich someone who you know has less than you, I want you to feel a profound sense of shame and guilt. I wish that upon you, that you will make change and be more generous. I'm the one who not only gives, but apologizes that I couldn't give more. That's who I am. That's who I am. So this homeless issue, and here in California, we have a very bad problem. When I still had my business, many of my suppliers for my clothing items was in the fashion district in downtown. And I would have to drive through that wreckage. It looks like Bosnia, and the smell, but I'm not repulsed by it. I'm angered by it. I'm angered by it. And I'm pissed and sad that I couldn't drive down every fucking street and just hand out money to people, real money that would change their life. Real money, you know. Wow. It makes me very sad. And for those of you who have never been homeless, this always kills me when I see, you know, the news will do some news report about homeless people, or, you know, people that have gone homeless. It's like, and then they'll show like a couple, and I'm already doing the inventory when they start, because remember, the Jedi watches television. They're telling you the story, but I'm watching the shit. So I immediately start doing inventory on all the shit I'm seeing in the background. The bitch got 2 SUVs, you know what I'm saying? I'm looking at all kind of snack food the bitch didn't really have to have. I'm looking at, I'm just saying stuff, brand name shit and all this, and I'm thinking, cha-ching, you could downsize. You don't know how to fucking crunch a dime. You don't know how to do it. You don't. Because the first thing you do is you downsize all your shit first. And we just don't have this so-and-so, but I'm looking at you, bitch, and you're 5,000 pounds. So you can cut back on your intake of food. I mean, you haven't done all that you can do. You're still trying to be, you're still a slave to most of the shit. And you just, and your money doesn't support that anymore. So you have to change something, because maybe your money will support it, but you can't have Heinz ketchup now. You're going to have great value or some bullshit. You feel me? So, I mean, but for those of you who have never even understood or even thought that you could be homeless, let me just remind you of this as I close, I swear. You're only one sequence of events lining up just the right way, and there your bitch ass will be on the street. Don't get arrogant. Don't think you're the most. Start humbling yourself. That's why I always tell you guys, when it's hot, don't run your air. Find some days where you don't run your fucking air. When it's cold, find days where you don't run your heat. You got to put yourself in the place of the people that you're seeing and disrespecting and not caring about. You got to know what it feels like on a windy, cold night, and all you would have is a piece of cardboard to shield you, not to mention the danger you would feel in the outside environment on a cold concrete. I mean, it's a whole nother world, dude. And I just don't accept in a nation where you have people that have multiple fucking homes. I think before you are even allowed to sign a fucking deed to any shit other than the house you already own, you got to show us a list of the people who you are renting apartments for when you're about to buy yet another fucking beach house. Wait, bitch. Show us the homeless people you helped. Well, we can't allow you to rent. We can't allow you to buy the beach house. We just can't. The listing is no longer available. We just don't have it. You see, or there you are at the showroom buying a Bentley or some bullshit. Show us the people you helped. Show us. If not, then take your bitch ass down the street and buy a fucking Honda. No disrespect to Honda, because I drive a Honda, but I'm just saying. There'll be no Bentleys for you here, because you're clearly just gouging through fucking society and in extravagance. And in my mind, in my rule, in my law, you don't get to be extravagant while somebody else is fucking starving. You don't get to do that. You don't get to. You don't get to. You don't get to do that. You just don't get to. You know, that's like I've been starving for even just a week. And now you think you're going to sit in front of me and fucking eat, you know, chow mein or something? Bitch, I will rip your head off. And whereas I would have just taken you putting me some on a plate and having me have some, now I'll take all your shit. So you won't have any. Just because now you, on the strength, you made me mad. Because you didn't have the desire to share it with me. That's what makes me sick. We got to do better, everybody. Stop judging. Stop buying into this bullshit. Oh, you know, people just are homeless because they want to be, and they just gonna buy drugs with it. They're just gonna do this. You know what the fuck they're gonna do, and that's not your judgment. That's not your call. Your duty is you owe them. So start digging in your fucking tacky ass purse and your wallet and pull some shit out for them and help them. Do it. Maxine, the story shouldn't have been Maxine, the exchange, it should have been Maxine Waters does not make it out of downtown LA alive. That would have been the story. You know, Maxine Waters done away with, you know, by the homeless people in LA, just done away with. She couldn't make it out. You know, somebody reached over the crowd and stabbed her. We don't know. We don't know. We don't have the data. We just don't have it. We'll revisit this story again in our next gathering, everybody, along with those things that I made note of. Go and watch the link that I put in the chat for that video, so your hair will turn white. It is powerful. It is everything, you know. But it's also one of the reasons why when somebody asks the Muslim, prove that God is, or who is God to you, we got a whole answer for you. No Christian can define it, sadly. Can't define it. They don't have it. They don't have it. Just don't have it. Just don't have it. So today is Friday. Ramadan starts tomorrow. Inshallah, as I say, everybody, I will try to be with you as often as I can into the holy month. I'll just read my angel. A lot of us are only one paycheck away from being homeless, Jedi. It's the damn truth. I love you more, Queen. It's the damn truth, you know. But it's that arrogance that makes one think that they're not in danger, and then until it happens to you, you know, then the first thing you're going to think about is nobody's going to help me, because you're going to be thinking about how selfish your bitch ass is, and you didn't help anybody, and you had no desire. You got to do better, man. There's no reason why people shouldn't have the basics. And if you want these people out there with extra room, you should be going out finding somebody to live with you. They shouldn't have to find you. You should be able to find somebody to live with you that you can help. Find them. Find them. And let them stay for free. That's what you do. Let them stay. You give them a set amount of time so they can collect themselves and their resources. This should be the perch from which they can fly. But so many people want to try to hold your legs when you're trying to soar. But you still got to pay me. No, bitch. I'm trying to fly. Let me just save my coin and get the fuck out your spot. I could do a whole hour on that. And I will. I'm definitely going to speak more about homelessness. That's be a perfect topic to talk about during this holy month of Ramadan. You know, because that first year that I was here, when I got out here from Maryland, and the first year that after I found the mosque that I go to, I just naturally, when we're done in the evenings at the mosque, certainly when we're done eating, it's just my natural way to go and help clean up, you know, just help clean up. And I just saw how much food was being thrown away, you know, like all this food. And I went to one of the brothers. I said, brother, you know, we're right across the street from this park. Why don't we invite the homeless to come and we give them some of this food? Oh, brother, no, because they will want. Oh no, because they will want to come, and we can't. We don't have the security, and we don't have. I said, but we're supposed to set the example as Muslims. And this is our holy month, the greatest time of existence to be giving. I mean, I can't even vacuum the mosque You got 10 brothers. Brother, I'll do it. No, where was y'all ask the rest of the time? I'm vacuuming. Get your shit. You know. So it was just an outrage to me. And it's part of our way of life. We're not supposed to waste. So you double jeopardy. You're wasting and you're not helping those in need. I mean, it was just, at least until Al-Hajawi came. Then he was like, we need to listen to this brother because he is the Mu'adham and he, you know, his voice matters and we should do what he's telling us. You know, it's no different than when they were going to expand the mosque and the brother that's the engineer, him and one of the head elders came to me. They said, come to the mosque because Nazi is going to walk through and he's going to be, you know, laying groundwork and plans for this expansion, blah, blah, blah. This is before we bought the church. And, you know, one of my main things, I was giving him my feedback on everything else he was doing. I was like, okay, but on this part, you're going to lessen the space that the women have. And we just can't do that. If anything, we should be expanding their space. This is not acceptable. Well, when they finally took the final thing to, there is a sister that's on the board. And that's why the whole thing got shelved. Because of the space for the women. I had already said it. Didn't take anything brilliant. You know. I want to live in a world where people give a fuck. That's where I want to live. That's because that's who I am. That's what sends my echo back to me. You know, it's like dolphins. You know, they say they have the sonar. That's how they find their way. They send out their echo and it comes back. That's what I need with everything in life. So, anyways, inshallah, we'll be together maybe before the weekend is out, you guys. Or if not, you know, just to pop in, let you know how I'm doing on my fasting and how I'm feeling, what my energy levels are. If whether or not you need to call 911, you feel what I'm saying? Do I need to just verbally tell my last will and testament? I don't know. Feel me? I don't know. But what I do know is I love all of you, and it is the very reason why that I endeavor to even sit here and do anything or to share anything at all as it relates to this social media thing is because of all of you. I'm blessed. Even the brother gave you all a compliment last night. He was saying what he was saying, and I was really impressed at how responsive your followers are, he said, or engaged your followers. Go back and watch the clip. I can't remember, but he was offering a compliment to you all. So, yeah. You're going to be around me. You got to be better, everybody. You should be, because that's what I'm here for, you know. And by extension, you should make me better. That's the way it's supposed to be. So, I love you all. I'll see you soon.